Okay, so we're going to do a live on question and answers. I want to answer your questions on Twin Flame Journeys. So I'm inviting you, hoping you that you can come along. And I'm going to give you, so I'm inviting you, hoping you that you can come along. And I'm going to give you, so I'm inviting you, hoping you that you can come along. And I'm going to give you certain, so we're going to be talking about twin flames and conversations about twin flames. We're going to be talking about star seeds. We're going to be talking about things of that nature. So we're going to see who comes on. And again, I need 9 people. So if you can share the live, if you pop on, share the live. So twin flames and star seeds, twin ray. Again, I feel as if we need to have more conversations. So I want to answer questions that are related to the twin flame, star seed, twin ray journey. And once we get about 9 people, I'll start really talking about it, so I don't have to backstep. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. Hi, Essie. It's good to see you. So let me know when you're ready. If you can share the live so we can settle down into talking about twin flames, twin rays, and star seeds. Because twin flames and twin rays essentially are star seeds. And I'm just, I thought maybe it would be a one-off. I know we've heard of earthlings, and from my understanding of earthlings, it's souls that have only been incarnated on Earth. And then you have the mixed bag, which is the star seeds, we come from other planets. We were incarnated first on other planets before we ever came here. Our twin flame journey began on other planets, not on planet Earth. Hang on, let me get some water. And it's really interesting that people actually talk about twin flames as a new age construct. That's really funny, considering many of us come from other planets. Okay, so let's talk about twin flames, twin rays, and star seeds. So what I've discovered over the last few years about our incarnations is that, well, yes, we will have memories of our past lives on other planets. Quite often it starts on our own. In other words, the first download typically is of you having your incarnation on a high dimensional planet, 7th, 8th, 9th, hell, I've had hypnotherapy sessions where I asked the client, so what dimension are you in? And as far up as 23rd dimension. And people will say, well, there's no such thing. And I'll say, you don't know that at all. Because see, when I have different clients going into hypnotherapy, coming up with high dimension, it becomes an objective truth, not a subjective truth. Does that make sense? So that's number one. So many of us fell for various reasons. And what I mean by falling is we fell because of some of us wanted to experience the human incarnation when it was still in 5D, aka Atlantis, Lemuria, so on and so forth. We wanted to experience the nectar of the human experience and the individual thought. There is in high dimensions, and this is going to surprise you, there is kind of a hive mentality, and you think this is only lower constructs, lower dimensions, but that's not true. It also comes in higher dimensions, and on the higher dimension spectrum, they are in individual bodies having telepathic communication with the same thought, intense, focused, that kind of thing, usually on a higher level of purity of this agreed upon focus. Does that make sense so far? So twin flames are, when we're in the higher level dimension, we're not twin flames, to be honest. We're twin rays. And our original, the way we originally started was we were twin rays, and then we fell into twin flame dynamics. And the sad part about our twin flame realities and our own soul's journey is that as we fell into 3D, right? Once we finally hit the 3D wall of amnesia, quite often we have incarnation without our twin flame. I've said this before. However, what I didn't really say, and I didn't break it down, is that sometimes the separation would last for 4, 5, 6, 1,000 years. Now, in human terms, it sounds like intense shit. It sounds like very painful. But in this is in human terms, time, right? But in actuality, some of these incarnations are concurrently happening. Concurrent incarnation is not a woo-ha-ha-ha. It's an actual thing. And there are people who actually know that they're having concurrent incarnation. They actually know. What you guys call jumping timelines, except they're jumping timelines to actually see themselves in a different human experience, different form. They either feel it or see it. And this is a real thing. And so the thing about wrapping your head about these very esoteric ideas is that you have to understand that you're processing it through your 3D matrix brainwashed brain. The best thing to probably read for you to understand how crazy the mind can get when it's unleashed and unlocked and hacked into is the book by Aldous Huxley, which you might have heard, called The Doors of Perception. Jim Morrison, who adored Aldous Huxley, who read that book and many other books, named his band The Doors based on that book, The Doors of Perception. So go ahead and get that book by Aldous Huxley, where he's doing mescaline and he's doing acid, and he is tripping, meaning he's opening the portals, the gateways of his brain, and he's actually talking about it. And whoever was there, they were writing it down, that they were scribing what he was saying. And that will give you an idea of how the brain opens and closes and opens and closes. It's really interesting and important. Aldous Huxley was an underground agent. Clarify that, my love. Clarify what you mean. After having your book recalled for a year, I'm finally going to start reading it. Oh, that's fabulous. Okay, good. That's good. Yeah, my book recall is actually based on my own past life in Mesopotamia, in ancient Mesopotamia 3,500 years ago. And this was a past life that opened its portals in the weirdest way. So if you want to look at, say, what it's about, you can go on my link tree. And you'll see, if you scroll down, you'll see recall set up. And I've kind of put it all the way at the bottom because I'm not really promoting the book. Don't ask me why. I just figure whoever wants to read it will read it. Who doesn't won't. But if you're interested in twin flames, ancient past lives, forgiving the unforgivable, which many of you in the twin flame journey know what I mean about the twin flame journey. You'll have somebody pull shit on you that you wouldn't fucking take from anyone else. But somehow the concept of, what is the word I want to use? The way you love and forgive is blowing your mind. You might even, I'm not saying you're welcome, Matt. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that they will pull shit that on a first date, on a soulmate connection that you've had in the past, you would have walked and shut. In fact, you would have nailed the door shut. But with a twin flame, what is blowing your mind is your capacity for unconditional love. And you'll sit back going, what the fuck? There's no way I would have taken this shit from anyone else. No one else. Not my father, not my mother, not my brother, not anyone, not my lover. But what the hell does this person have? And it's not that they have anything on you. It's the whole concept of the twin flame is that, and twin ray, by the way, is unconditioned, no condition. So suddenly you're pissed, and within like 2-3 days, you forgive the unforgivable. And this book, Recall, is what she's forgiving is a lot more intense than what I'm talking about, but you get the picture. He was involved in fraternities and secret societies. Well, my friend, to understand the fuckery, you have to be part of the fuckery. I'm sure there are some good insights there, but they have exposed the whole Brave New World gig. The Brave New World gig, if you've actually read it, and I'm sure you have because it sounds like you have, you understand exactly. I hope you got. What was your takeaway from it? Because I'm curious. Because I'm going to tell you my takeaway. My takeaway was this: that the beta could have, remember Brave New World? What was the Brave New World? It was about a society okay, with 15-minute cities. But I mean, that's not what they said. But you got the sense of, no one was giving birth to humans anymore. They were all in pods. And so you had the alpha that got all the oxygen, and then you had the betas that got absolutely no oxygen, right? They got a little bit of oxygen every day so they wouldn't be completely brain dead. And he was a beta. The hero, the protagonist, was a beta. And what was the takeaway from that particular personality of the beta that wasn't as smart, probably had an IQ of, I'm making it up, okay, because that's not what Alex wrote, but just to give you a quick synopsis. Let's say your average beta's IQ ran in the 80s, okay? And the thing is, what it showed me, I don't know what your takeaway was from, but what it showed me was that in spite of all the biological manipulation to dumb down a human being through outside environments, external environments, the soul broke through and went, fuck your little, scientific project on my brain. My soul's stronger than that, and I will overcome it, and I will free myself from your bondage. And that was the takeaway of that book. If you really, really read it, I've read it like 5 or 6 times because that's how I read when books blow my mind. Okay, so whatever you're saying about secret societies, to be honest with you, every person in that was, hang on, of course. Ram Dass was involved in government mind control. Of course, that's why the movie, and this, again, I'm giving credit to Andromeda Flame. This is why the movie Men Who Stare at Ghosts, this is, of course, that's why the movie, and this, again, I'm giving credit to Andromeda Flame. This is why the movie Men Who Stare at Ghosts, this is not new shit. And this is not groundbreaking, what you guys are saying. People knew this shit in the 70s while it was happening. Who do you think was talking to the hippies? Who do you think, it was on the streets what was happening? Okay, no one was like, people didn't need the internet to get intel because it was a small world. You had what you call the conspiracy theorists, and they all knew each other, and people had intelligent conversations, and no one thought it was. So you had, how do I put this? You had the groundbreaking, hippy dippy outside the, coloring outside the lines. You had the malcontents, the poets, the philosophers, the painters, who also understood that bullshit, knew about it. And then you had your little, white picket fence thinkers who were, going to church every Sunday and thinking that the world was exactly how they saw it. Meanwhile, in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, people knew better. So it's not new, what you're saying. Just on the side note, it's not groundbreaking, at least not to people who are called and accused of being conspiracy theorists. They were conspiracy. Actually, let's start with the word theorist. Theorizing, what you might sketchy situations, and trying to figure out, is there a conspiracy behind it? But anyway, let me get back to the twin flame concept, because you want to talk about conspiracy theories and psyop. Let me talk about that. Perfect. I'm glad you got me on that bandwagon. The reason why there's so much bullshit around the twin flame journey, where you've got twin flame universe and you've got Twin Ray in Ashland, Oregon, and these people who are creating cults and know nothing about this. They're in other words, they're full of shit. Okay, and they are influencing people to believe that what they say is God's, like direct words from God, is because I don't know how. I'm not going to be able to tell you how, but I know energy, and I understand energy pretty well. And any person that's connecting with energy will know that when people are in sync, people can create magic. They can manifest impossible feats. Similarly, when twin flames walk into union and are graduating towards the twin ray powers, they are incredibly important to the collective awakening. And because they're important to the collective awakening, it is to the benefit of the 1% for twin flames not to be in union. Hence the psyop of 4B, for example, and it is a psyop. Hence the gender wars, so that women and men can hate each other. And here comes the divide and conquer agenda. What's interesting about the twin flames who are really, truly in twin flames, none of that shit is working. You might have a couple twins that are addicted to various substances that keep them from connecting to their third eye, plugged into divine consciousness. Yes, that actually does happen. But for the most part, if they're out of the game, if twin flames get out of the game because of that kind of bullshit, I can assure you that a new set of twin flames will be introduced. It's like, I guess these twin flames aren't going to make it, so let's move on. And I'm not sound. I hope I don't sound rude or cold. It's not my point. But we are replaceable if we don't do the work. I'm just going to be straight. I'm replaceable. You're replaceable. And so, and I've talked about this many, many times. I've talked about the 144,000. I've talked about how it's a conveyor belt. Why? Because people die, and people die in union, and they're on the other side of the veils. Meanwhile, we need a new set of twin flames, or a graduate pair of twin rays to take over, to take the baton, or better yet, the torches of light. And all of that to the 1% and to other secret societies, which is the 1%. They don't want us to win like that, because then it becomes, again, I repeat myself, but I can only give you the same analogies because they work. They're quickly understood. It becomes a 100 monkey theory. It becomes a domino effect. And when one person awakens, the next. I've illustrated that in many of my lives, and I've discussed the background, the concept of egregores. I've discussed. I've even used fairy tales to explain kind of the backstory behind our awakening and how we impact other people, and that we need twins to be in union. We really do, for the greater good of the planet and its people. Okay, but so you'll have psyops. Okay, I'm not sure who's paying them. I'm not going to go into that whole. But so you'll have psyops. Okay, I'm not sure who's paying them. I'm not going to go into that whole conspiracy. Throw me off the track, because that rabbit hole has its own tunnel that I don't want to go down right now. But I can assure you, when you look at Twin Flame Universe and other, like Vanity Fair doing an article which spawned, another word for it, spawned the Twin Flame Universe documentary, and chick who's supposedly a journalist wrote about how Twin Flame was a New Age cult, that it was an invention of the New Age community, that it was bullshit, that it had never been mentioned in the ancient ever until the New Age movement began, is absolute bullshit. Because when you look at Plato talking about twin souls, he's talking about twin flames. What the fuck? What was interesting about the Vanity Fair article is she didn't give a fuck. Because if you type Google or Yahoo or DuckDuck, you're going to come up, or Quora. Guess what's coming up when you put twin flames? At some point, you're going to come across Plato. If you go on YouTube, if you go on Insta, Plato's going to come up. End of story. And I found it interesting that she never wrote that in her article, okay? And that was a huge influence in separating and having a lot of twins run for the hills, going, oh my God, I'm psychotic, and then you have, I'm crazy, I'm going crazy, it doesn't exist. If twins runs for good, the other twin can still fulfill their purpose without being replaced. If one twin runs for good, the other twin, no, sweetie, no, let's not go there. Let's not candy apple the thing. If one twin is doing their mission, okay, let's not sell Barbie and Ken stories. If one twin works on their mission and does what they're supposed to do, they are not in union, my love. Okay, let's not sell the wrong shit, because that's bullshit. That's not healthy. When one twin does what they're supposed to do, eventually, in the next life, if the twin is never going to be in union with you, for example, in the next life you will meet, There will be a lot of seeds that have been planted. You will harvest the good of the work you did on your own, because you basically said, okay, I can't be with my twin. This is not going to work. And so that's it. And yes, a new set of twins. When there's a permanent damaged twin, I do this for a living. I talk to people all over the world. And I can assure you that there's no stagnant energy with twins. If twins cannot be in union in this incarnation, a new set of twins are either introduced. Does that make sense? Let's use our noodle. People die. People are born. When you were 15, there was another set of twin flames in their 40s that came into union permanently. There was another twin set that did not. They broke up. They were so afraid of the power of the union that they never were able to regain union in their particular incarnation. Meanwhile, a new set of twins were introduced, and so on and so forth. That's just how it works. Okay, it's a conveyor belt. And the word conveyor may trigger you because it's not romantic, but I'm just trying to use words that convey the message as quickly as possible. We are volunteers. We come in, we meet, we have a contract agreement. You and I, we're going to get this done, right? Yes, we are. But you need to learn how to love yourself, and you've not been so good at doing that. So I'm going to make it hard for you. I'm actually going to treat you like shit. And I've talked about that. This is not twin ray conversation. This is twin flame. And so anybody that's listening or reading Quora on twin flames, they're so loving, they're so perfect, and everything's so beautiful. That's twin ray. That's not twin flame. And I've been involved with both. In fact, I've met twin rays where I told them, you're not twin flames, you're twin. And oh my God, tell us what that. And I would explain it to them. They go, yes, we're not like twin flames. Yes, that's how we are. We're twin rays. We enjoyed each other. We met each other. We never separated. Everything's easy. We barely argue. The sex is off the chart. Twin ray. We're in our missions. We do what we're supposed to do. We're on the path together. But twin flames are self-destructive, playing games, cheating, taking drugs, annihilating themselves, annihilating each other, being triggered by the root chakra sexual union, which shakes like earthquakes, the calcifications of trauma in the root chakra for quite often from this life and past lives. It's ugly. It's not twin ray. And we better understand the difference, or else, many of you won't understand it. In fact, many of you will think you're going crazy because you'll think you're doing it wrong, and you're not. You're doing fine. But if you move into your power, you'll feel the energy pull towards if you're meant for. Yes, you will get it, but if the path changes and you're on a different mission, you created a new problem. What are you guys afraid of? What do you mean if you create a new path? You're not creating a new path. The vibration, the frequency of what you're supposed to do will show itself. I don't care if you move to Hong Kong for 3 years and you're like, oh my God, but my twin's in New York. If I move, I won't be together. Don't worry about it. You'll meet again when the frequency is a right match. Okay? You're going to have to study more, okay? I mean, I think I don't know if you guys are listening to people who actually haven't lived their twin flame journey to the entirety of their life. Maybe you're listening to people who are, I don't know what the hell you're listening to, but I'll tell you one thing. You're not going to lose anything. You can't lose a twin flame ever. Never. I don't care if you're separated for 27 years, you have children, they have children. Eventually, when it's time, you'll be back together. Trust me. I've seen it again and again. Okay? And it's not from my experience alone. It's from the clients that I work with. Does that make sense? You will always have a connection to them, but will you throw your current away? You are connected spiritually. I'm not sure what you're saying, unfortunately. Then you'll have to okay, champion, let me just say something. I think you better, I might sound arrogant. I actually don't give a shit if I do. Why don't you look at my content? Because it's based on real life experience from myself and my clients. It's not based on rhetoric bullshit spat out like the telephone game. Okay? It's actually from real world experience. I'm not joking. From hypnotherapy, from Akashic readings, from readings for clients, from all over the world. Different races, different backgrounds, different cultural beliefs, different religious beliefs, different ages, and so on. Okay, so you may want to look at what I've created for you and for people like you, so you don't go off the beaten path in other words, you don't go off into these weird things that are actually creating confusion in people. It's brass tacks. It's nothing complicated. It's if you are in your truth, in growing yourself. Once you are separated by your twin, never are you separated because you're being punished. Usually what's happening is when you get separated, it's because you guys are not a frequency match. One of you is overgiving to the point where it's become toxic loyalty, and one of you is abusing the other or abusing themselves, and it becomes impossible to be in the same room, much less. So that's why when you are separated by a job, a move, an explosion, suddenly whatever, right? Room, much less. So that's why when you are separated by a job, a move, an explosion, suddenly whatever, right? Catching them doing whatever, or you've decided that's it. That is for the timeout is for you to actually grow your spiritual compass, your heart chakra, your root chakra, your connection with your family. Maybe you've got some issues with, I'm not kidding, you've got the mother wound, father wound, and being chosen and competing and trying to make them see your worth and all that shit. All of that is a no-go for a twin flame journey. It's a no-go for any human being, by the way, but it's definitely a no-go for a twin flame. You have to love yourself enough. You have to be enough into yourself. You have to say, listen, I'm walking my mission with my twin or without. I don't give a shit. I move on. I continue. And guess what? The minute you make that decision and you start really working and refining yourself, your healing, and your mission, your twin returns. It's the weirdest thing. I've seen it too often for me not to say it and know that it's a truth. It's one of these objective truth. It's very interesting. Okay? Okay. You speak truth, but I guess it's all different. The age difference, though, it is so hard to reconcile. Well, it depends, what the age difference is. You're connected spiritually. Yeah, I read that. I've created lots. You speak truth, but I guess it's all different. No, there's certain things that are not different. Okay? How do I put it? You're never separated by your twin. Never. It's impossible because of the umbilical cord that draws you close. But just so you know, I don't know what you've created based on what, and I haven't seen your content. I don't really look at twin flame contents because a long time ago I got disgusted. And I'm not saying your stuff is shit. I'm saying I felt that a lot of the stuff I heard was regurgitated garbage, and it wasn't for real experience. And then I started finding out that a lot of supposed twin flames had never had sex with their twin, had never lived with their twin, had never. It's like insane to me, and yet they're going to create content. At that point, it does look like obsession, and it does not feel like a twin. When you have people creating content on a twin flame journey, they sure in the hell better have been in union at some point. What that means is they're talking together, they're making love, they're connecting, they're sharing. They're talking about esoteric ideas. They're growing. Then they separate for a while for whatever reason. And then they grow some more on their own and they come back together. Then eventually, if that's going to be part of their particular path, they move in together. Some of them have children. Those are twin flame unions. Okay, people looking at across the ocean to someone they've never met. They've never kissed. They've never walked beside. Can they be a twin? Yes, but that doesn't make you an expert or a person, not you personally. When I say you, I mean globally. It doesn't make that person a twin flame expert. And there are, and I know for a fact, there is at least two that I know one of them never met their twin physically, and the other only met their twin twice. And yet they're creating content. That's crazy shit. And it's irresponsible and it's harmful. Because they have not walked the walk. Okay? It's like, I can tell you what spaghetti tastes like, But if I've never tasted spaghetti, I can't really explore it and explain it. However, if I have made my own spaghetti and I've eaten it, I've enjoyed it. In fact, it's something that I often enjoy. Then I can talk about it. I can tell you all the nuances of the different pastas, because not all pastas are created equal, by the way. So it's the same. Similarly, twin flames, there's different types of experiences in terms of how far they go in the union. That's what makes it different. Also, the actual experiences. Well, I mean, a twin flame in Africa, say in Ghana, that meets a twin flame in Italy. There are nuances in both of their cultures and languages and foods and the way they were raised and how they meet and how they connect, and all of that is going to be different than my experience or yours. Completely different. But some of the basic aspects of twin flames they'll always reconnect. As long as both twin flames are alive on the planet, they will reconnect. When they pass away, when they drop their bodies, of course they'll reconnect. Of course, we know that. In fact, some twin flames, I'm one of them, and I'm not a twin flame, I'm a twin ray. Some of us continue our conversations and our union with our twin on the other side. But that now, when my twin passed away, okay, we were replaced by new twins that either got back together or they were on their first meeting. And I know it. Okay. I know it like I know I'm taking my next breath. So that's what I want to make sure you understand. Does that make sense? Some teacher without experience. Well, I laugh at some teacher without experience, because it's not some, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the people that I was, when I went back into union with my twin, and he sent me the book on Brian Weiss about soulmates, right? He already knew there was something there. We didn't use the term twin yet, but by 2013, 2014, we were using that term, and we deep dove into that world. And it's interesting how many of us who are twin rays and twin flames know the same people, like Cassidy in Twin Flame 1111, like Mel Brand in Golden Rays, he was a twin ray. Like Remy, who I'm trying to remember his twin flame. They're twin flames, actually. And they're in separation right now. So what else? I could name you more people, but that's enough said. And those people actually knew what the fuck they were talking about, because they were actually living the experience day by day, for real, day by day. I'm not joking. So what was interesting about them is that none of it was pleasant to hear, because they were talking raw truth. And the people that are creating content that have absolutely no experience, I'm just going to say, barely experience is no experience. They're selling the Ken and Barbie story. And that's not going to help you get into union. It is actually not. And so, it is what it is. What can you do? To get into the halls of a mentee, you must master all events of life. Well, considering that many of us have had over 8 million incarnations at least, I think many of us have mastered a lot of things. But most of the concept of mastery and this idea that we have to master everything in 3D is not correct. It's not correct. I've read the Emerald Tablets. As a matter of fact, I've done a couple lives reading from the Emerald Tablet by Billy Carson. He's my favorite. I love his footnotes. I love what he, explains. And then, of course, I did my reading of Thoth's Emerald Tablet. I did 2-hour sessions of lives, and where I stopped and explained, what it meant, if people could understand these stanzas that we were reading. And I really realized that a lot of the knowledge is about us really eradicating self-loathing, doubt, imposter syndrome, and the most important, unable to self-forgive, and regret and fear. Once you master these emotions, these toxic negative emotions that are only going to loop you back into the conveyor belt of 3D incarnations, for example, right? 3D, 4D. Once you do that, you're on your way. You're on your way. The most important thing is for you to hack into your 3D brain. And so far, guess what? All of us who believe in many of the things we believe in, we're almost there. We're halfway there. Many of you are even further than that. And I'll say that because you know that what you're doing is fighting your false ego. And one of the biggest thing you can do for yourself in this incarnation is unconditional self-love, unconditional self-forgiveness, and and accept the fact that you're going to have regrets, that you have to forgive yourself. Okay, there are things you shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have done. There's a lot of things all of us should not have done, yet did. And so now we have to just say, I forgive myself and I release this. And that's going to be the most important things to master, is your monkey mind. That's actually the once you have that, you're on your way and you're going fast. Okay. Let me see here. Is there a hierarchy in love? I've experienced soulmates and twin flame. Is there another level? Yeah, twin ray. I was talking about twin ray is the hierarchy. We never pass away. Energy is infinite. Souls. They're immortal. I know that. Okay? I understand that. Tell me something that is going to add to the conversation. So the hierarchy is there. And when you say hierarchy, let me put it this way. Let's put it back to some level of stability so we don't get into the egoic nosebleed, okay, of hierarchy. Let's talk about love. Love, when it is unconditional, like a good mother, a very good mother who loves her children for real. By the way, they're rare. There are not a lot of women out there that can do this. But when a woman or father, I'm going to honor the man as well, the masculine. There are men out there and women out there that can love a child unconditional. There's no fucking conditions. And they love their child with a purity that is awe-inspiring. And so when you are on that level of love, you are kissing the lips of God. Because at that point, you're there. You've mastered something that most people, a lot of parents, do not, they love their kids, don't get me wrong. But there's always a condition. Billy, you have to have good grades. Billy, you can't hang with those kids. Billy, you need to get a job. Billy, you need all A's. Billy, I need you to really score in baseball. Whatever. There's always some job. Billy, you need all A's. Billy, I need you to really score in baseball. Whatever. There's always some condition. Billy, I want you to be a doctor like your father. There's always a condition. Okay, Billy, I don't want you to date that girl. Okay, things like that. So there's condition, right? Unconditional is rare and beautiful. And so when we talk about the hierarchy, the plateaus, the connection of the souls is based on how bonded I am with a human being, right? So on that level of hierarchy, yes, there are souls that are born in one breath. I did a whole thing. You can actually look a video on the breakdown of how souls are made, and how we have, like, I'll give you an example. So let's say you have 555 souls, part of your soul tribe. So the hierarchy would be all of the other souls, they're your friends, they're your cousins, they'll be your lovers sometimes. And then you'll have the top 10 or top 20 soul mates. And from that is your twin flame, because you have not graduated into twin ray. And eventually you'll become, and from that is your twin flame, because you have not graduated into twin ray. And eventually you'll become, and from that is your twin flame, because you have not graduated into twin ray. And eventually you'll become, and from that is your twin flame, because you have not graduated into twin ray. And eventually you'll become a twin ray. And so if that hopefully this answers your question. So you'll be much more bonded with the top 20 or top 30. I hope that answers your question. Let me see what else. Unconditional love is like kissing the lips of God. Wow, love that. I didn't want the lonely travel. I came back into twin ray, and eventually you'll become a twin ray. And so if that hopefully this answers your question. So you'll be much more bonded with the top 20 or top 30. I hope that answers your question. Let Let me see what else. Unconditional love is like kissing the lips of God. Wow, love that. I didn't want the lonely travel. I came back and away with my family. Would you say a twin who's been left and stays in their purpose and continues growth moves on twin ray? I've seen it's I love that you're saying that, because let me read the question correctly. Would you say a twin who's been left and stays in their purpose and continues growth moves on to twin ray? I would say yes. Yes. And I've seen it in action actually quite recently. I warned and I've seen it in action actually quite recently. I warned a particular friend. Well, actually, I'll give you an example. When this is a client. This client is in a twin ray connection, and when this twin, they're both women, and when this twin ray comes to her, it's like perfection. I mean. It's like the world has fallen away. And the minute she goes back out into the environment, I don't know what happens, but she goes into massive amnesia and she goes back into twin flame dynamics. She regresses as soon as she leaves the side of the twin ray that is powerful, strong, and centered in her purpose. If this continues, then they don't have a shot in hell. And the twin ray who is powerful will remain in her vibration of twin ray. And the other twin ray that should have been a twin ray but has digressed, right, will fall into twin flame. And there might be a separation for quite a while until the twin, and I mean separation meaning many incarnations. The twin ray will not come back, loop back into 3D, can't, because it will no longer be a frequency match. And the twin flame will have to go through another cycle or 2 or 3. And then suddenly, because of the umbilical cord between the twin ray and the twin flame, right, is so strong, they will come back into union and hopefully heal that shit, to be honest. But when, for example, when you become a twin ray, let's say you are becoming a twin ray and your twin ray dies, you're still a twin ray. And your twin ray has now passed over, crossed the veils. They still can communicate to you. They can still be there. You can feel their presence. You can hear them. The communication is telepathic, obviously. And they can show you as you like them to be shown. In other words, if you like them the way they looked in this incarnation, they'll entertain you with that bullshit. Or, which is not bullshit, I shouldn't have said that. And they'll show you in their various ways, they'll show you in their best self, and not a young version of themselves in this incarnation, but their best version of themselves, whatever suit they prefer, for example. Okay. And I've talked about some of this stuff before, but hopefully, let me see what else. Valid. Okay. Let me see what else. So does that answer the question? Even though this is a program, I love what I've created here. Okay. Can I just say that, how do I put this? Can I say to you, let me invite you to not look at things like it's a matrix and it's hell. Let me ask you to, first of all, change your ways of seeing this planet. This planet is not AI. This planet is real. This planet has a soul. Her name is Pachamama. She weeps. She sings. In fact, how does she sing? Well, the electromagnetic frequency creating the... She sings. In fact, how does she sing? Well, the electromagnetic frequency creating the crop circles is a vibrational frequency that creates crop circles. In fact, I was doing a reading on an Akashic reading for a client whose twin needs help with massive sexual trauma, okay? Masculine. And it was shown to me how she could do some healing work remotely. And one of the things I came up with was a crop circle that showed up in not far, like very in the vicinity of Stonehenge. And I told her, you know, you need to print out this crop circle. You need to do this. You need to do, I mean, I gave her instructions, right? She's a very, very powerful soul who's got the amnesia that many of us have been, you know, are dealing with. And she is going to be doing some of the work. But I told her, look, what I'm telling you, usually when I give specific instructions to a client, I know that the client is not firmly footed. You know, they're not working, they're not walking in a way that how do I put this in another way? They're not confident in anything, nothing. So I have to give certain clients specific instructions on how to do X, Y, and Z. Whereas this client, I said, these are the 5 things I insist you do, but the rest, if it doesn't fit this, go with it. Go with your instincts. If that doesn't work, you're okay to go. But those 5 things, I need you to stay put. So when you look at the world as a matrix, the way in the movie, I don't disagree. However, the damage of when you look at the world as a matrix, the way in the movie, I don't disagree. However, the damage of only seeing it as a program is that you will not honor the elementals, this planet. And you will, and as long as you can't see this place as a valid, beautiful place to honor, you will not master anything. Part of mastery is stepping out of the programming, meaning the brainwashing, to not hate your home. And you've had many homes. You know, it's a poem I wrote. But anyway, you have many homes, none are permanent, and all are dear to you. And one of the homes you have is called Planet Earth, which is Pachamama Gaia Bhumi, Mother Earth. And if you don't love her and respect her and honor her the way the Native Americans did, then you will not master all the points of this incarnation in 3D. You won't. Because part of it is to do that, to honor her. And not to go, well, you know, fuck it, it's better in other planets. Well, to be honest with you, it isn't. I'm so blessed to find you. You're resonating so much. I'm so happy. That's great to hear. Thank you for the hanging lights, by the way. That was very kind of you. I saw it, but I look up when I'm talking. I needed to hear this so much. Thank you. Well, I have a video on my TikTok, and you can also look it up on my YouTube channel. In fact, I'm trying to get a lot of people to move over to my YouTube channel. But on my YouTube channel, it's called Opening the 4 Corners, Above and Below. It talks about that. And it's a ceremony. It's based on the ceremonies that shamans use to give right before they're going to give you sacred medicine. And I do it in my own way, in a more authentic way. That doesn't mean that what they're doing is not authentic. Theirs is more rigid. There's a rigidity to it, which is important because of what they're about to give you, you know, or clients like you. But in my way, it's more aligned to connecting like one-on-one with Pachamama. Like really forgiving yourself, but also asking for her forgiveness. And speaking to her as you would speak to your most intimate friend who you adore. And so that's going to be massively important because I can tell you from my hypnotherapy sessions with my clients all over the world, Australia, England, America, okay, Ireland. I'm not joking. What happens? They go into these other planets. I'm so lucky because I've had a lot of beautiful starseeds get attracted to me. Thank God. You have no idea how lucky I feel. And 80% of my clients will remember past lives on other planets on high dimensional frequencies, and it's fucking homogeneous. Meaning, if it's a desert, it's a blue desert. The people are all, blue, or the people are all kind of a palish yellow, and they're all alike, and there's this vegetation, and they eat or they don't eat, and it's very, it's kind of boring. It's fucking boring. In the last 3 Akashic readings I've done, I've come across some very fascinating humanoids that are bald, that have these Saturn rings. I'm going to call them Saturn, Jupiter rings, whatever, around their heads, right? Like halos, but like rings, like moving. And it's part of it. They all, that species of humanoid all have that, okay? And they have this they go from a mushroom color, like mushroom, like cremini mushroom, but like more like gray, to a matte black, like a velour to their skin. And they range with black eyes, obsidian eyes, to sapphire eyes. And they are a beautiful people, and they are extremely loving. And oh my God, it makes me cry to talk about them. And they live in crystalline cities. And the way they bond, they have what I call, I can't call them marriages, they're called bonding ceremonies. And the bonding, I'll give you an example of what I saw, what was shown to me, is that they hold hands, right, palm to palm. They do deep eye gazing, and then an energy spirals around their hands, okay? Like think of a ring, like a spiraling of light. And this light is almost like a silver cord that binds their hands together and goes right through into their bloodstream and moves, codes their DNA for the bonding ceremony to last into infinity. And this is the bonding of twins. For example, it's like the final touch, if you will. So they will never forget each other before they go into through portals to other realms, to lower dimensions, to experience what we've all wanted to experience. Okay, for example, yeah, it is beautiful. It was unbelievably beautiful. So, for example, me and my twin, we were a yellow race of people. When I say yellow, I mean like a pale yellow. We both had white hair. Mine were down to my ankles. He had hair like a what a samurai man would wear. Like knotted, topped with bones or whatever you want to call it. Not bones, but like sticks. And I was wearing a long gown that was pale. What would it be? Like a very celadon green, if you know the color. And I went into the jungles looking for him. And there he was, naked, in meditation, refusing to learn from our tribe, wanting to learn on his own. He wanted to download on his own. He wanted to know on his own. And I won't get more into what happened when I came upon him, but he he was like that even in this incarnation. It wasn't until our last year together, while he was alive on this planet, that he finally surrendered to. But don't get me wrong, he'd read all the books and this and that. But when it came to his own spiritual journey, it was something that was so important for him to have on his. It was weird. It was like he would read like 3 to 4 books a week, very esoteric, complex books on a string theory and insane shit like that. He would study Sanskrit and translate Sanskrit, and he was one of the most brilliant men I've ever met, obviously, and but he did not know how to be part of the tribe. And during the last year, he learned the benefits that the lone wolf sons. Always, an alpha lone wolf can be an alpha lone wolf in nature, in the wilderness, but at some point you got to come back. And I think that was his lesson in this incarnation. That's why our union was so beautiful. That incredible release. Does that make sense? Any questions or comments? So twin flames, when they get together, there are, and I did a live earlier today about how people get confused over twin flames, over not twin ray. Most people don't have a clue what twin ray is. So they get confused over twin flames, and they'll meet someone thinking, well, it's got to be my twin flame. I've never felt like this before. And you will feel like that with soulmates. You will meet them in other words, you'll meet your soulmate. Could be a woman who becomes your best friend. It could be a man who you absolutely are crazy about. But the difference between soulmates and twin flames is that over time, the sexual desire, all of that good nectar of, the nectar of lovemaking, the nectar of their smell, the nectar of the sound of their voice, all of that will eventually dissolve. And it will be neutralized into almost, and many of you will know what I mean, it'll dissolve into, say, a celibate marriage, right? A platonic marriage or platonic friendship. You will always be their friend. You will always love them. But that sexual, it's the weirdest thing, will go. Whereas with a twin flame, it will never go. It may transform itself. Say, a person has diabetes, a man, and can't perform. It will continue, though. The desire will continue, but even though he can't perform because of illness, for example, and it will still be this incredible fire between you, believe it or not. But with soulmates, something gets diluted over time. Okay? And it's probably because they've been your brother, your sister, your father, your mother, your best friend. You've been soldiers in battle. You've been lovers. You were the barmaid that they kind of, effed around for 3 or 4 years. And then eventually you got killed in battle and, shit like that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's interesting. Any questions or comments? Amazing lesson. My TF is an alpha lone wolf. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. To be honest with you, a lot of us, I'm going to tell you something else that I've noticed about twin flames and twin rays, is that most of them are lone wolves, she-wolves or lone wolves, and most of them ultimately, and that's their default, that meaning they might be social for here and there, and then they'll go back and withdraw into themselves. You know what I'm saying? They have moments where they're charismatic, magnetic, but then they go back into the wilderness, right? They retreat. The only thing that will change that from being true is addiction to drugs or alcohol, at which point they'll be gregarious out there, but it's toxic shit anyway. It's not their real self. It's an alter ego, that is out there, doing all kinds of stupid moves, right? But for the most part, if you got a lone wolf who's doing, I don't want to get specific, but let's say that they'll smoke pot every day, shit like that, then, they're going to want to be within themselves. They may dabble in other things, but when they're straight up addicted to shit, and I think the difference between what I've just mentioned with pot and whatever, and dabbling into this or that or the other here and there, when they're addicted to stuff, they have blackouts. They just don't. And usually when, especially a male is that, or female, but I've noticed in males that there's usually sexual trauma as children. There's usually some kind of massive trauma. I did an Akashic reading today for a lady on her beautiful man, and I was seeing images that they were showing me of being a 3, 4, 5-year-old with cigarette butts on the floor. Definitely the parents were addicted, and she said she couldn't believe it because that's exactly what his parents were. And one of them was doing one. I don't want to get into they were hustling in the streets. They were drug addicts, and the kid was quite often left to fend for itself, not being fed, not being bathed. And when it was happening, a very inappropriate, fucking shocking shit was happening to the kid, and I saw it all. So all I can say is, and then now he's a massive addict. Well, no shit. Who the hell wants to remember that? So it's kind of a sign, It's kind of like the sign of when a child pees in the bed, they've been fined for whatever. Oh, here we go with restrictions again. Bloody hell. Anyway, so any questions on that? I just want to kind of share some of these things with you. I don't know why TikTok thinks it's okay to restrict that conversation, because pretty much everyone should be aware of it. So as a woman, if you're a woman and you have, or gay male, and your partner is acting out like that, then now and you probably already know, many of you, I would be shocked if you don't, they're dealing with that. That's why they are addicted to shit, to that level. Like this ferocious need to just get high. And of course they're going to be doing stuff like cheating, like being with other people, flirting, completely forgetting that they did that the week before, denying it. And some of it is they're actually not lying. They actually don't remember. That's how important that shit was to them. You know what I mean? For example, and that's not to excuse it. It's to just tell you what this is all about. Okay? Any questions or comments? Please feel free to share your comments at this point. So the process of healing yourself in this journey, the process of realizing my masculine twin. Let's talk about, your masculine twin. When you realize that your masculine twin is doing this kind of behavior and is running from you, right? Well, first of all, they're running from you because they're ashamed, they regret, and they're self-loathing. No kidding. That's why they're doing what they're doing. So when you start working on your own healing, okay, when you start and I don't mean mirroring shit. Sometimes, I was having a conversation with my dearest friend, and she was saying, today I had to mirror. I go, mirror, why? And she said, well, because it really was a mirror. I go, okay. Because I'm against this mirroring technique, and I'll tell you why. Because quite often, content creators and coaches will say, oh, it's a mirror of you. Well, no, sometimes they're fucking an asshole and you're fine. You did nothing wrong. And they're an asshole and there's no mirrors. But sometimes it is a reflection of you. Sometimes. And in the New Age community, we have to understand that sometimes pushing it back on you every single time is not only unfair, it's actually toxic. It's a gaslighting of you. And so be honest with yourself, okay, because I'm not working with you, but if I was working with you and I listened to you and I went, hang on, this chick's being victimized here. She's doing nothing wrong. Then I would never tell you you're the mirror. I would tell you what to do in those situations, right? I would give you advice and coaching on how to do it. Like I had a client I've had for 5 years, and finally I asked her, could you just send me an example of your text? And she did. And I said, it's a whole it's 2 paragraphs in one. Like you're saying all this. No one can, I'm a woman and I'm having a hard time reading this. And so I coached her into doing 3, 4, maybe 6 word sentences that were powerful. And then a space, and then another 3 or 4 words. And then a space. Because the eye tracks that, and the eye will read all of that because it's separated and it's short, concise sentences. Do you understand? Men can't take all this shit all at once. It might say read, but they didn't really read it. They scanned one word then the other, and their eyes jumped all over the place. It's too difficult. In fact, in corporate America, if you're smart and if they've taught you shit like this, you know that you should have bullet points, okay, with your boss, much less a lover. I mean, it's like common sense to me. But women will get so pissed off. They'll write and write and write and write. And then there's some punctuations and there's no breath. It's like talking without taking a breath, writing without taking a breath. And people, I can't. And I'm a writer, and I couldn't fucking, I really am. I've been writing since I was, my first short story, I was like 5 years old. So I love words. Don't get me wrong. I'm not lazy. But if I can't do it, then I can't even imagine your basic masculine reading that shit. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, I'm mad, hate, you don't see me. And it's like, they're not going to get, and that's why you're pissed off, because then they don't understand you. They just don't understand you. It's too hard to understand you. You've got to make it easy. It's funny. You treat this conversation with a twin like you're being paid to communicate really well. Like if your boss was paying you to you were getting 6 figures to fucking communicate for a massive client that was like a multi-million-dollar deal. Treat these conversations with your twin that way. And you will go far, my friend, very far. Doing everything to stay alive. Life is so no joke. No, I hear you. We could go to another dimension if we put our heads together. He ran and ran. He married someone else. That's very common. The marrying someone else. Running big time. Went and found someone who is carbon copy of me. Well, obviously not, because she's not his twin. So she's definitely not a carbon copy of you, because you're unless, and I'm going to be blunt. There are 2 things that could happen, and this turns people off a lot. One is you are his twin. One is you're not his twin. And 2 is that you have 2 twin flames, and that's called a concurrent incarnation, and that's not outside the scope. Okay? And this turns people off. Oh, I only have 1 twin. A lot of content creators, they don't know shit. And they don't know shit. They don't know about concurrent incarnations. They don't know about walk-ins. And they don't know about the fact that you can have more than 1 twin. Does it happen a lot? Do I have more than? No, I don't have more than 1 twin. But some people do. For real. So that is... So let's suppose you only have 1 twin. You, the who speaks with a soul. If you are definitely his twin, then she is at best a high level soulmate. And there's a soul contract between, I see this a lot, by the way, where she's a high level soulmate, which means she's your high level soulmate because it's his high level soulmate. That means there's a soul contract, and she's in the middle. She's the third wheel, third party. There's shit that needs to be learned, things that were not mastered. We all have our experiences. That's important to understand. Not all TF behavior is a mirror. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah, I had to tell that to one of my clients, and I said, well, tell me exactly what you're talking about. What are you mirroring? And she said, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, he's an asshole. You're fine. You've done nothing wrong. And she was, no. And I went, no. You've done nothing wrong. He's the asshole right now. And I would tell you, if I thought you were the asshole or you were both acting stupid, I would tell you. But right now, this is not the time to mirror. I would tell you. If I thought you were the asshole or you were both acting stupid, I would tell you. But right now, this is not the time to mirror. This is the time for you to actually advocate for your inner little girl and your own soul, because you're being unfair to yourself. Does that happen a lot? It can, actually, because what happens, there's different souls, different twins. There's some twins that are very Kuan Yin energy. And they were always the golden child. And they are always competing with themselves, trying to be the better, and the best. And what happens when a twin treats them a certain way, they actually turn on themselves. It's almost like self-cutting, where they actually emotionally berate themselves, saying, I'm the one that fucked up. I'm the one that's not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I should have done this instead of that. I should have never told them that. I should have said this. And it's like, no. You did nothing wrong. This person needs to shut the hell up and listen to you and see you and honor you and protect you. And if they know that they go off and they get easily triggered, they need to heal that in themselves. That's not your, that's not the thing. I write paragraphs, little thanks for the advice. Well, I actually worked, I said, look, let me rewrite this sentence for you. So I rewrote the sentence for her. And I broke it all down. I go, do you understand? When you talk to a man, you better talk like a man. When you talk to a woman, you can embroider all your words all day long. You can talk and no one gives a shit. Men, no, you don't do that to men. You've got to be concise. You've got to talk like a man. And women don't understand that. A lot of women that are very much in their Kuan Yin energy, and I say this without any disrespect, they just, I don't know. I mean, they're writing, some of them should just write fucking short stories, because it goes on. It just, and it's too, it's too metaphoric. What that means is that they're not saying, it's too metaphoric. What that means is that they're not saying straight up what they mean. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Because that's important. Okay, can you explain the two TFs? Oh, shit. The two TFs. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, my God, just joined. That's why my gut felt about it. Thank you. So did I answer your question then? Because you asked me, can you explain the two TF situation? That's my gut to feel about it. Thank you. I'm not sure what you mean, because I said a lot on that whole thing about answering your questions about if it's a high level soulmate, if you got two twin flame, if you're a second twin. So do you have any other questions on that? Because it sounds like I've answered the question for you. Okay. Does it sound like I answered the question for you? I hope so. So now you understand that it's not a carbon copy. That's my point. How she looks. It's funny too, because I just thought of Johnny Carson, and I think he married 3 women. And all of them had their names was Joan Carson, all 3 of them, if I'm correct, and they all had dark hair. Weird. Who knows, right? Some people are just narcissistic. Some, because they can ask, "How's Joan? She's fine," and it goes on for 50 years. Can you clarify the situation where someone might have 2 twin flames? No, it's just a concurrent incarnation. There's really nothing to clarify. It's some people have two twins, meaning. The 3 of you are the 2 of you incarnate, and there's been a decision to have an concurrent incarnation, to have another twin. Sometimes there's four involved, where you split off and your twin split off, so now you have four four, like the four pillars, right? And it's done for many reasons. One is to have a quicker, expansive experiences, not in the twin flame journey so much, but in incarnations. In other words, gathering all kinds of data, right? Learning as much as you can. So if you split off and your concurrent incarnation is a man or a woman, let's say it's a woman, okay? And then your twin also has a concurrent incarnation and he's also having another experience as a man, then you're learning a lot really fast. You're double down on your learning. Does that make sense? And this is not something that's woohoo, because forget twins. Just throw that in the toilet for a second. Let's just put it over there. We, on our own, without our twin, coming into this incarnation, if we incarnate on our own, some of us, many of us, will have concurrent incarnations. And our twin will stay behind. Or our twin will be here and we'll have a concurrent incarnation. That doesn't mean that it's going to be a love affair. Sometimes it's just to double down on the experience and to pay karma through multiple incarnations going on concurrently. And you can look that up too if you want. You can look up hopefully there's stuff. I should do a video on that, come to think of it. My dad had Claudia 1, 2, and 3. I get it. Holy shit, that's crazy. Is there such a thing as a fake twin? No, the fake twin, and they shouldn't say that because it's not a fake twin. I'm going to break it down for you. You might have a high-level soulmate you think is a twin. The fake twin is bullshit. I don't know why people do that. I don't know why they do half the shit they do. Because fake means it's wrong. It's not real, right? A fake twin. So why even call it a twin? What it is you've superimposed your idea of what a twin flame is onto a high-level soulmate. Now, but there is shadow twin. And shadow twin is your twin. And your shadow twin means that he is or she is loose, addicted, self-destructive, cruel, loose, addicted, self-destructive, cruel, but they have that inner tender child that comes out only to you. And so you know how beautiful they can be, right? When you're in bed, when you're intimate, but then they just misbehave. They're just they're wrought with shadows of their own self-loathing and their own self-destructive behaviors, and that's a shadow twin. And shadow twins can go from being shadow twins, being toxic people, into their own healing. And part of the amazing connection of a twin is when you guys have the first connection. It's there is a activation that happens from the first meeting. You don't even have to kiss. There's none of that needed. However, the kiss is the bond. I did a whole video that went viral called The Kiss, right? And so when the kiss happens, there's the activation is even more strongly unplugged, or the switch is hit on the on button. When you have sex with your twin, the root chakra is entered by their root chakra to your root chakra, right? And I talk about this a lot. The calcification of trauma will start shaking. As a matter of fact, I did a video saying that sometimes the sexual union of a twin will create a runner because it's so intense. And so I've talked about that in various lives. So if you go on my YouTube channel, you can follow some of my lives. Fake twin is a mistaken deep infatuation. I've seen it, not a twin flame. It's a deep, misguided, unreal love. Yeah, that's what I was saying. But it could be a high-level soulmate. It could actually be a high-level soulmate. It could also be a soulmate, or it could be a karmic loop. You know what I mean? There's a lot involved here. There's like a lot. And it depends on your particular situation. People talk about you're going to have your... what was it called? Oh my God, I forgot the term because it's kind of late. It's the person you meet before your twin. It's called I'm trying to remember the term. Some of the terms are such bullshit. Let me put it this way to you. I met my twin. The activation happened. Then I went to another country. We still talked. We spoke for like almost 2 years after we had met. Okay, but we didn't see each other again. Then I met my high level soulmate, and I had a soul contract with my soulmate, and that was it. So he was not a, oh yeah, it's catalyst twin. I just remembered. There is no such thing as catalyst twins. Everyone's saying, I'm seeing these content. First you'll meet your catalyst twin, then you'll meet your twin. Bullshit. What you'll meet are people that you might meet your twin before you ever meet anyone else that's of significance to you. I've heard people of meeting their twin at the age of 14, and they did not consummate the meeting. And I've heard of people who met their twin and had sex within 24 hours of meeting and then separated for years later. But the activation was immediate. Does that make sense? There's all kinds of situations. But this concept of the for years later, but the activation was immediate. Does that make sense? There's all kinds of situations. But this concept of the catalyst twin and then your twin and this, and that. No, this is not cookie cutter. We're not making gingerbread cookies for the tree. Okay? This is not a garland. This is like, can some of you meet what they call a catalyst twin? Who the hell am I to say no? But for the most part, I would say you probably meet somebody who's a karmic, that, and karmic meaning you owe very, very heavy debts, which I did a live today, which I'm going to download to YouTube. I'll work on it tonight. You may want to check it out because I break it down. And some of this nuanced stuff is really very painful, very intense. It can be very confusing. And there are no books on twin flame journey I can recommend to you. I'm being straight up with you. There's none. I'm not even really working on a book. I'm working on, you know what I'm working on? I'm working on a book on star seeds and how we fell. That to me is more important and interesting to me, no offense, than twins. But I feel like my videos they have a lot of information for you. And I'm not the only one. Like I mentioned, some people that you can go down the rabbit hole and listen to their videos as well. And I highly recommend those people, highly, with great respect. But I've yet to meet a content creator. The only content creators is one called TF Journey. If she comes on my live, I'll let you know. And there are a lot of people called TF Journey, so don't just start running down, and finding her. There is Andromeda Flame. And if you look in my TikTok or my YouTube videos, you'll see her. She's Irish, and we talk. We're partners. We're like best friends, and you'll hear her. So if you want to follow someone who actually is walking the walk, she's incredible, and she's a twin ray as we speak, and she is an expert on on chakras, right? And so I would, if I were you, that's another one you can look at. And her videos are very short. They're very easy to digest and so forth. But when we get together on our YouTube lives, TikTok lives and YouTube videos, we talk about all kinds of stuff, including the journey. And we are starting to kind of slam some of the content creators because they're actually harming people. People are unaliving themselves. People are going through the dark night of the soul, not seeing any sense behind it. They're being told to block their twin. They're being told to leave their twin. When twins live together, I never tell them to leave. Never. Unless the twin is bashing her face in the wall. Obviously, if she's being emotionally abused or physically abused, you're damn right she needs to leave. That's without saying. Or him, by the way, because women do that shit to men too. But with that said, if the only issue is the egoic propensity to fight, because it's all about who's going to win and who's right and this and that, you gotta work it out. And believe me, when it's time for you guys to be separated, you won't have a hand on it. The universe will separate. And you go, okay, time out, kids. You're not getting the fucking, lessons here. So we're gonna separate you so you can learn more shit. And it's not a punishment. It's for your highest good. It really is for your highest good. Does that make sense? Any questions on that, please? Any questions or comments? Thank you for this. I felt the same intuitively about catalysts. Have you ever come across twins where one is straight and one is bi or gay? Absolutely. In fact, of course, that's actually quite common, believe it or not. Sometimes a person is gay, as you know, because they're born gay. Sometimes they're gay because they were sexually abused. Why do I know that? Because I've had gay men tell me, if I had not gone through foster care, and I've, again, you can listen to my past lives, I would have been straight, because they were so fucking abused that it turned them out, okay? So with that said, I've met a straight man who loves women's breasts and asses and all. I mean, loved women, loved them. And then came across my stuff and connected with me because he felt comfortable, because he knew I'd be very comfortable talking to him about this. And he asked me about a young man who he fell in love with. It shocked the shit. It shook his world, because he said, I've never wanted to be with a man. I've never wanted to be with any man, and I can't get enough of him. And he said, I want to know if it's a twin flame or what is it? And it turned out it was a twin. He is in a twin flame journey. So you'll hear of people who were straight their whole life and suddenly meet the love of their life in the form of same gender or bisexuality. And by the way, bisexuality is never been, it's not something anyone invented in this generation or in this century. It was as common in the 1900s as it is today. And when I mean 1900s, I'm talking about 1910, 1920, 1800s. It was common. It's still common. No one's invented jack shit. Everyone's acting, oh yeah, no. The only thing that is coming up that's kind of bizarre is people suddenly going on the bandwagon to change their gender. And that is very, very touchy shit. It's very touchy. Because let me explain. The soul is androgynous. I can put myself into the zone in a meditation, if I'm writing, and become a man that makes love to a woman. Why? Because I've been a man who's made love to a woman. Not once, many, many incarnations. Similarly, a man who has been made love to by a woman remembers that. And so for us to have bisexual, you know how there was a time for a minute, and I'm not sure if that's still going on because I don't pay attention, but there was a time when women were having girl crushes, right? Well, I've never had a girl crush. If I connected with a woman, obviously she was attractive, but if I connected to a woman, and I felt, oh my God, that I could actually make love to this. I've never made love to a woman, on the side note. Not that it's not a flex or anything. It's just I never have, because I've been with 2 monogamous relationships. So clearly I was in the market. But I have met women where I felt the connection. It was a sexual connection because we had a soul connection. It had nothing to do with sex so much as it was sexualized because this person had been my lover in other lives. So it was familiar. And it just happened to be in the form of a woman, just like I've had that in the form of men. So this concept of, can a twin flame or twin ray be of same sex, or one bisexual, one straight? Absolutely. Of course, absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the issues that can happen, for example, is that you have a lover twin that is bisexual. And the question is, can you be monogamous? I'm assuming you want to be, right? And and they have to forego their innate desire for the same gender to be with you, or opposite gender if you're same gender, right? And that could be one of the things that becomes a problem in your relationship, right? Doesn't that make sense? And so that needs to be worked out. Let me see here. Any questions on that? My twin doesn't remember his childhood, but I was shown abuse that happened around age 4. To be honest with you, it is not unusual for men and women to have blackouts. Does the pain of separation, deciding not to be with twin, ever stop? Well, to be honest, why would you not want to be with your twin? Unless, of course, they married. At which point does it ever stop? You eventually become transcendental to it. What happens is you'll go through a dark night of the soul that's so bad that you almost feel like you're not going to come out of it alive, okay? Just not dramatic. This is real shit. This is a real dark night of the soul. You've had depression before, but this takes the fucking cake, okay? And once you find reasons, or once there's this force greater than yours that's keeping you alive, and I'm not being dramatic when I say that, you have been inoculated, my friend. And will you ever be able to not feel a gnawing pain, a homesickness? I'm not going to lie to you. No, no. You always feel it. Will you have moments of nectar on your own with your friends, with a new beloved? Yes. Will you always think of them? Yes. Yes, that's the bond. It's a bitch, isn't it? I mean, it is what it is. And women who say, "Oh, I've gone on, I've moved on," I'm like, was it even a twin? Because it's that I could see that with a high level soulmate, or a whatever, a nobody, right? Somebody from the next soul village, right? But typically twins, no. That's one of the things we all share. See, there's certain things that are we all share, like the sun, warms our skin. That's not subjective. It's objective. The feeling of the bond with a twin, yeah, that never leaves us. This feeling of an ache, and the ache is as big as the Grand Canyon, and eventually it's become manageable. It hurts, but it's never going to be as big as the Grand Canyon. But it's always it's kind of there. It's like a low humming sound that's almost imperceptible, and in your quiet moments, suddenly you have a flashback of you together, and it's almost like it was, it just happened. And sometimes you might get slammed by the pain. It might last 10, 20 minutes. And sometimes it's a pain you're able to manage out of it very quickly. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the reality of the twin flame, twin ray journey. It really is. And twin ray because of separation through death. My dark night lasted more than a decade with 3 back surgeries and terrible pain. Yeah, going through this exact thing. I get you. I'm sorry for your pain dealing. I love you. Thank you for that. It's been what I've been wondering about. Okay. The pulling to my twin is like nothing I've ever experienced. He has said the same thing. Yeah, it's totally mutual. You've got to understand that you might think to yourself, they're not thinking of me. It's me. I'm Delulu. I'm crazy. I'm obsessed. Well, let me just say that they're obsessed too. What may dampen the obsession is their addictions. So if they're drinking, right, they're going to black out, right? They're going to be drunk as a skunk, and they're going to not think of you anymore, because that's the whole purpose of drinking or getting high, is not to think of you or think of their pain or anything like that. So for them, it might be delayed, but eventually they'll be taking a shower or making a meal that reminds them of you, or seeing your name somewhere, and then it's like somebody just sucker punched them in the gut, and they remember. I've been grieving for 3 years. He's married. I don't want him in my heart. Well, my question would be, why are you not on your mission? Your mission would be to heal, to be busy, to do your spiritual work. Alchemist says, I had that experience with my ex. It was so intense. I couldn't understand it for a long time. I know. It's bizarre. So, I have no words for you. I wish I could take the pain away. But I can't. It is, it's like baptism by fire, Let me see what else. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything at all? My twin doesn't remember. Oh, yeah, you told me that. Yeah, no. So any other questions or comments? So any questions on the twin flame journey and twin ray? So the good news is you can actually graduate from twin flame to twin ray. I think I said that before, but it's worth repeating because it's good news. And there's a lot of things that you are going to have to healing yourself in separation. Whenever you're in separation, know that you have shit to heal yourself. You know that there are things you need to do. I'm aware. Hang on. What is it? Hang on. I'm trying to get. I'm aware of the mission, but I can't help but feel we have more than one. Is that common? More than one what? More than one twin or more than one? Please explain. More than one. Okay. The other thing I'm going to talk to you. Thank you, Beth, for being here. Let me explain something to you about mission, okay? I think I'm going to break it down to you personally. So in 2008, after 27 years of separation, me and my twin came back into union on the phone. We talked 6 hours a day. I'm not joking, from say 10:30 at night until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. This was a daily occurrence. 7 days a week for 4 months straight. And I was not in the position to leave any marriage or leave my young son. This was not going to work. And so he got angry. And because I was not tolerant, okay, because I'd been very patient, this, that, but he kind of blew up because he really wanted us to be in union, and I was not ready to give him what he wanted. So I had to, so you could say I was the runner, okay? So that was in 2008. And he sent me letters telling me, I love you and I want blah, blah. And I'm not going to, those are my personal letters. I'm not actually going to share the content, even paraphrasing it. But what I will say is this. By 2010, things were changing in the dynamics of my own astrological constellation with stars, planets, alignments, and a karmic 28-year loop that I had lived. It was coming to a conclusion, which I had spent with my husband. By 2012, I wrote Recall. And Recall was based on my twin, on a past lives. I wasn't clear about it yet because it was an actual experience. Everything in that book is exactly how it happened and what I fleshed out some other things. But let me just say this. The book came out in 2012. In 2012, I believe in 2013, a second book on breast cancer and their lovers. I have not had breast cancer, but I did an illustrated, a pillow book for breast cancer survivors and their lovers. Second book. Second mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. 2 books, right? And by 2014, I was in union with him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So 6 years had passed from the time we had been in union to the time we separated by my own will and by his anger. And God bless him, because we suffered those years, but I accomplished the kinds of projects I could have never accomplished with him at the time, not in the consciousness that he was in or that I was in. Okay? So when you're in separation, it's not a punishment. It's you've got contracts with yourself to create certain projects or to be aligned with other people or to have children with other people for various reasons. I don't know what they are. If I did a reading on you, I would tell you. I could tell you. But I don't know what they are for you personally. None of you. But I can share these basic understandings and these basic truth to tell you that once I got my shit together, there it was. Here's a famous example I will tell you of twin rays. Iman and David Bowie. Iman was bisexual. David Bowie was bisexual. He was on drugs. If you know David Bowie, he was brilliant. He was talented as fuck. He was wearing makeup. He was doing all kinds of crazy shit, okay? In the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When he met Iman, he had his shit together. He must have gone through rehab or counseling. He cleaned up from wearing blue nail polish and blue hair and orange hair to all kinds of shit. He was dressed like an elegant man with money, with style, with posh. And he met Iman. And they were inseparable from day one. And they were an inspiration to anyone who saw them. Tall, lean. They were a power couple. They were gorgeous. But he went through shit before the universe spat him out and said, now you're ready. You've done all your shit. You've acted like a complete asshole. You're talented. No, you've helped people. But now you're now clean. And now you can meet her. Now, had they met before, they would have been twin flames. But because he got through his shit and he was right as rain and sober as a judge and all that stuff, then he was able to meet her. And if you listen to stories of Iman talking about how he treated her, fucking that man was magnificent. He's your dream. He's what men should act like. And he was perfect. Every move he did with that woman was perfect. And every move she did with him. So she was in her pure Shakti energy of the feminine, the divine feminine, and he was in his pure Shiva energy of the masculine. They were in perfect union. But you see what I just described? All the shit he had to go through prior to meeting her. So when we as twins move into these cycles with our twin flame, and we go into separation because it is a shit show. and no one's being fair, or maybe the twin is being massively unfair to you, is treating you like garbage, then the separation occurs. Not because you're really leaving, but because the universe says, yeah, lights out, we're done here. Fuck this. We're separating them. And then you're freaking out going, oh, they're married. Well, what it's probably happening, okay, is that they're married and this person is teaching them, yeah, you don't treat me like that either. I don't know who took your shit, but I'm not taking your shit. And they learn how to behave. Just on a side note, or they learn what their triggers are, or this high level soulmate is guiding them to their healing until they are more refined and more healed, that they can walk beside you. And they might walk beside you towards the end of their years and yours. We don't know the story yet, right? But I mean, I don't go too much into energy work because there's a lot to be done. A lot. And every person's recipe is different. But he keeps popping up. I was the runner. I know. I know that. We've been through so much. I know exactly what you mean, my love. I know what you're saying. And the only time, and I'm glad you brought this up, my love, my sister. What I'm going to say to you is this. Sometimes when the twin comes into your marriage and they're still kind of, there's some deviant shit on their end, right? They're not quite right? They come in not so much to make you leave your marriage so much as you're there to activate them to do some massive healing. Okay? Sometimes, like for example, I'll give you an example, and I've spoken to many, even twin rays, okay? And this will blow your mind because it'll totally blow your idea of what a twin is. Many of us are wired as loyal women. Loyal, okay? And because we're loyal, many of us would have stayed, like in my case, I would have stayed in my marriage. If my husband, God bless his soul, he was a good man and there was a lot of pain and it got to be too much for both of us, right? But my point is, if our marriage had been good, my twin wouldn't have had a shot in hell. And I've talked to women who are married to high-level soulmates and it is fucking hunky-dory fabulous. And they will not put their marriage in jeopardy for a twin. And I've talked to women who are married to high-level soulmates and it is fucking hunky-dory fabulous. And they will not put their marriage in jeopardy for a twin that's a fuck up. They just won't. And can you blame them? Why would they? But that doesn't mean that at some point they won't be in union, even if it's in your 60s or 70s. You might, oh, but that's too late. 70s. Who has sex at 70s? I don't know. Look at Tina Turner. Look at other people. To be honest with you, when me and my twin were in union, he was 66 and I was 51. And we had the best sex I've ever had in my entire life. And don't think I wasn't actively involved in my sensuality as at 17, 18 years old, obviously. But my point is best. The best bar none. Well, no shit, it's a twin. Of course it is. That's like a no-brainer. However, age has nothing to do with that because when you are a twin, you are transcended by all that. It's the weirdest thing, and it's almost miraculously you become younger and younger looking. I'm not kidding. People thought he was 45. People thought at the time I was 37, 38. Okay, just so you know. And it was because of us. We were doing that for each other. We were like the B12 shot to each other. Now, in my relationship with my high-level soulmate, had that relationship been good, we had money, we were traveling, vacations, making love, we were good, everything was good, I wouldn't have left because of the loyalty factor. But when a twin walks in and the marriage that you are in is toxic, well, one of the reasons why the twin's coming in is to activate you out of the marriage, to say, listen, what are you doing? And you get a taste of your twin's nectar and you go, wait, hang on. Why am I doing this? Why am I in a marriage that's toxic as fuck? I'm fucking drying up. I haven't had sex, or it's a celibate marriage, and you haven't had sex in a while, or you don't even like the sex. It feels like a fucking duty, or whatever the hell your situation is. And the twin walks in to shake it up, and for you to eventually make a choice for yourself. Now, many of you, the problem, and this is a problem, many of you have a toxic marriage, and you do. And what you want is to bridge from the twin, from your marriage to your twin. Did that happen to me? Yes. But I probably earned that, to be honest, from my incarnation in this incarnation. I'd done a lot of burning of karma. So both him and I had suffered in our separation. Okay? And so I earned the right to bridge literally from my marriage into my union with my twin. However, some people don't. As a matter of fact, I've seen it where some clients literally have to leave the marriage for themselves, not for the twin. And what happens if I leave? Will my twin come into union? No, most likely not, because there's still shit you got to do. You have to understand, when I was in my marriage and it was collapsing by 2008, I was doing a lot of spiritual work. I was going into therapy. I was meditating every day. I was going power walking and working with chi energy. I was doing all kinds of shit to transmute, transform, purge, release, surrender, forgive others, myself, for years before. So that was one of the things that needed to happen. And there was a man that came in between that, and it was nothing. It was absolutely not sexual, but it was me putting down the karma, like literally going, oh my God, more karma. Oh shit. Okay, let me clean that up. And I talked about it in depth in today's live, so I will upload that so you can check it out and kind of put two and two together, right? But you see what I'm saying? It's like, you guys, many of you are like, well, I don't understand. Why did he marry? Why did he do this? Well, there's some unfinished business. He's not right for you, or else he'd be there with you. Maybe you're both not right for each other. And that is a tough pill to swallow. I get it. It's not pleasant. Let me keep seeing that. Yes, my husband's name was Nick. No, I have a whole video on cord cutting. Do cord cutting work with twin flames? No, it doesn't work at all. If it did work, we'd all have done it. Believe me, none of us are stupid. We would have all done it. And we've all tried. Better people than you have tried and failed, my friend. So what happens when you cord cut is that the good thing about cord cutting, I fuck it, but don't do the candle bullshit, okay? Don't do that voodoo tata shit, okay? Don't do that. That I can't stand that. The two candles. No. Do where you take a butter knife and you literally, the first thing you'd have to do is do the four corners above and below, open sacred space, sage yourself, then take a butter knife, or, so you don't cut yourself, and literally run the knife across your body, and you actually say, I release you from between your legs, your chest, your back, your neck, your shoulders, your elbows, your knees, your ankles, and so on and so forth, until you feel like you're done. And what you're doing is you're literally dissolving toxic negative cords that you have with your twin. The beautiful prismatic light of the golden light that bond you'll never be able to remove, thank God. But you will be able to remove anything that's dark, gunky, disgusting, and sticky, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I was like in Hercules when the fates try to cut his life cord, not possible. Exactly. I've tried. Believe me, we've all tried. With what name? Well, it's everywhere. Yeah, my husband was called Nick too. Anyway, so any other questions or comments? So, okay. I had that thought today. Other relationships are teaching my twin how to be a partner. Exactly. Good for you. See, you're becoming transcendental. But okay, so let me go back down. Good morning, my love. Remove blocks. Yeah. Oh, I love you too. Thank you, my sweet. If you notice. Anyway, but any other questions or comments? So damn near all the questions you've asked me in this live, I have a video for it. I'm not joking. Like cord cutting, I have a video. TWINRAYS versus TwInFlames, I have a video. Sex magic, I have a video. They're videos and videos and videos. I've been doing this for almost, it's been 2 years now. So the videos are there for you. And if you want to do a reading with me, an Akashic reading or twin flame reading, or if you want to know, is it a twin for real? I do those readings. I would say I have an 80 percentile success rate because I'm doing numerology. I'm doing, in fact, look at my videos on numerology, but I do numerology, life path numbers, and I also do the Akashic reading to see what you need to learn, what's not going on. Like, I was very fortunate. Not every Akashic reading do I get the following, but let me go back. And then I do the tarot psychic reading, right? And I get the answer I need. Like, I had a client, I've been working with her for the last 2 days. Like, we did a session for her and then a session for her twin. She wanted to do that way. And so the session with her, believe it or not, I was shocked. I did see her twin, in my Akashic reading for her. And it was very important because that beautiful incarnation I mentioned at the top of the video, remember, of these beautiful sentient beings that were bald, remember, that had the bonding ceremony, right, where it went through their bloodstream. Okay, well, that was her. That was her and her twin. And she is an incredibly powerful, evolved soul. They didn't fall because they fucked up. They fell because they wanted to fall. They walked through the portals to lower places, to lower dimensions, to learn more. Why would we do that? Well, because when we were made and we were part of like a collective thought form of similar telepathic focused intentions, we were innocent and naive in a beautiful way, right? We were incredibly smart. We knew a lot about a lot. We knew of our beginnings, our makings, energy work, co-creation with, matter. I mean, I could tell you more and more about her because she was an extraordinary human being whose soul has forgotten. It's like a lobotomy. And finally, I brought her back into realizing who she is. But anyway, they wanted to walk out into lower dimensions to experience themselves. So she asked me a really good question. She said, can I ever regress? I go, I don't think so. I said, here's why. Because now you're kind of like a spiritual street smart person, street smart soul. In other words, you're never going to be played. Played by what? Like nefarious characters who are in the other side of the veils. We know there's evil. We know this is not a joke when people say there's evil, demonic forces. It's a real thing. Okay, anyone that denies it is full of shit. But that doesn't mean that you buy candles or you go to a voodoo tata psychic who will burn candles for you and take a chicken in her bathtub and do all kind. Don't do that shit. Okay, when I say evil, I just mean there is evil. Okay. And it's been talked about. I talk about the Sumerian tablets. I've talked about Zachariah Stitchin's and translations of the Anunnaki and so on and so forth. Okay, people know that. Billy Carson talks about it like he's talking about, ordering a bag of potatoes and a quart of milk. Okay, everyone's on that. No one's going, oh my God, that's so out of the, no one thinks this is crazy shit. Okay, we're all on the same page when it comes to this shit. Okay, number one. So when these Anunnakis and the reptilians, not all Anunnakis were assholes, by the way, on the side note, but let's move on. And the reptilians would commit genos on other planets. And we would have meetings with these reptilians with this innocent mindset of not being streetwise. That's the word I'm going to use because I can't use any other way to express how we went from being innocent and naive in the higher dimensions and then fell into planet Earth, if you will, into 3D, from Atlantis, Lemuria to 3D. And we've gone through the shit show. And as we come back out in the loop, going back up again, we have the eyes of a tiger. In other words, we're smart, we're whip smart, we're good, the love that we have in our hearts is even more powerful because it comes from a place, I hate to say this, from pain, from being betrayed, from our people being genoed on other planets, on this planet. There's been whole races of humans, as you all know, who have been destroyed on this planet. Certain tribes of Native Americans, certain peoples in different parts of the world, right? Okay, so we know this. And now we know the name of the game. And we outrank the reptilians with the way we know energy and manifestation, self-love, unconditional love to our twin, to other people, really creating and banking all of our beautiful adaptive way of creating I'm just going to say it once, a hive mentality for one purpose only, to create the new earth and then separate again into our own tribes, into our own selves, okay, or with our twin, right? But because we know what we know, without the naivete that we had before, we're more powerful than we'll ever be, and we'll be able to eradicate the reptilian influence that has infiltrated our universes and destroyed whole planets and really good sentient beings that honestly didn't deserve to be eradicated. And all of that is coming into play. So this new earth 5D 6D manifesting that we're working so hard, well, we shouldn't be working hard, we should just focus on it effortlessly with joy and gratitude every day. But the fact that we're able to do it, and many of us are on the same page of what 560 planet Earth looks like, is going to reverberate across the galaxies. And this will catapult the reptilian influence out of our frequency, because they will no longer be able to control us on any level. And this will be a benefit to many, many sentient beings across the planets who will remain innocent because they have never lived our shit on this planet. And what I'm saying to you is simple. It's in simple terms, not because you can't understand, but because it's the only way I can express it, so that we're all on the same page in a fast, easy way. So I'm using terms like street smart, and things like that, so that you get it. But do you get it? Any questions on what I've just explained? Do you kind of understand what I just said? I'll contact you soon about scheduling my hypnotherapy. Oh, very cool. Past life regression. Absolutely. That would be awesome. Hang on. Let me read your stuff, my love. Hang on. Hang on for a second. I'm reading this. Let me see. Sorry, I had to share because I feel that it was a test. No, it's fine. I'm glad you shared. 80% is a great success rate. No, it's pretty great. I mean, every blue moon, I'm telling you, every blue moon, I don't see the twin flame. They're telling me, no, it's a twin. I'm like, okay, okay, let me do it again. And I'll do it again. Boop, no. And then I'll go, look, let me do this. Let's ask if you are going to meet your twin in this incarnation. And boom, there it is. It'll show me twin flame coming. And it shows me, I'm not telling you in case you become my client. When you become my client, then I tell you what I'm looking for. But typically it comes in. The client who came to me, she was like, I'm a twin. I'm pretty sure I'm a twin flame. It's not that I'm cynical. It's like, I've heard that one before. And I'm not here to confetti twin flames to everyone. Annoyed everyone. Oh, you're a twin. Like my old fairy one. You're a twin. I don't do that. So I'm very careful because I've seen how people suffer under delusion that they're a twin flame. It can destroy people's lives, quite literally. So when I did her reading, it fucking came out. Boom. It was insane. Twin. Within like, I don't know, 3 minutes, okay, of reading. I was like, holy shit, yeah. And then I said, but hang on, let me confirm. Boom, there it was. So it is what it is. And the numerology is connected to that. There's all kinds of things connected to that I've talked about in many, many lives. And many of you are new to me, and I'm new to you. So I will say some things that will help you in your twin flame journey. One, and I'll give you examples, like real examples. So one of the things that is very common with twin flames is numbers. And I don't mean 1111. Those, look at what I'm doing number videos right now, so you can check them out. Angel numbers. But anyway, no, I don't mean angel numbers. Those are activations, ascension numbers. I mean your number and your twin's number. That's what I mean. So I'll give you an example with me without going too much into it. And I can tell you so many examples, it's insane. But I'm going to give you the top 5 I can think of. So I was born 5/18. I'm May 18, right? And he lived when he was, where he was born, the area code was 518. 518. Okay, my birthday. He was born on the 23rd of the month. My life path is 23. My name, my maiden name, when I add all the letters in numerology, is 23. Comes out to, I think it's 23, believe it or not. What else? I was walking down an empty country road after, like, a few weeks after he passed, and there on the floor was 47, which is actually the year he was born, and was 50, my month, his year, which was 11, which was his life path number, which 5 plus 11 is 16, which was unfortunately our combined number, which came out to the tower. It's a fucking shit show. But what we were able to do is transmute 16 into 7. 7 is the journey, the 7 wonders of the world. Neptune, it's connected to Neptune, which is a lot of emotions, a lot of depth, a lot of spiritual connections. Like, for example, Neptune connected to Pisces, for example, this energy, this incredible psychic energy that a lot of Pisceans have, right? But anyway, I saw it in the middle of nowhere. And within, like, I think it was like, 5-6 weeks after he passed, and I was like, I started sobbing because it was like, there he was. He had a very unusual name, which I'm not going to say because I'm trying to keep a little, I like my privacy, just so you know. But his name is so fucking unusual. It's not Joe. It's not Bill. It's a Sanskrit name that when he was initiated in India. And I'm driving and there's his fucking name on a street sign. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I actually took a photo of it. So what will also happen is you will see the number of your, and I'm not going to tell you too much because it's one of the things I test, so I'm not going to give it all away. But that should give you an idea of where I'm coming from, okay? Make it any sense? 518, yep, so close to home. That's amazing. 23, yep. And does that make sense? So any questions or comments? So twin flames have multiple steps. It's not, oh my God, I've never felt like way before. Well, good luck. Welcome to the club. Most of us have never felt that way before in memory with every soulmate we meet, just so you know. And if you've never felt that way with your best girlfriend or one of your lovers in the past, then I don't know what to say to you because that's kind of unusual. The usual is if you're in a twin flame journey, you're an ancient soul. And believe me, when we have these soul contracts, we come in at 30, 40 at a time. We come in. Are you coming? I'm coming. We're all, okay, you're going to be born here. You're going to be born there. You're going to be born in this country. I'm going to be born. Somehow we're going to fucking meet each other. And I'm going to, we're all going to meet. The other thing that's interesting about twin flames, which is really, really fascinating, is I met his actual, one of the love of his life I've met in the temple when I was 18 years old. And I always knew that she was a high-level soulmate. I always did. I told him that. And I knew the feeling I had is if he ever went back to her, I would never be jealous. I don't know how I can explain this except to say to you, I would know that she would handle him and she would take care of him. And he would be fine with her. But the idea of him being with any fucking bimbo would drive me insane. But as long as I knew he was with her, or there was another love of his life. There were 3. One of them is actually one of his ex-girlfriends, one of my very dear friends. We get along awesome. And she was a soulmate. She's one of our soul tribe members. I would have been happy with either of these women. I would have been, yes. But some of the other women he met in between when we were in our separation, I was like, oh, fuck no. And see, twin flames are interesting in that way. We know who they're supposed to be with or not. If a twin flame has a child with another woman or another man, we don't care. That child, it's like our child. Like we will honor the child. We will honor the woman who's had the child unless she's a complete psychopath, at which point it becomes difficult. But, and why do I say that? It's not my experience. Trust me. It's because I've seen really amazing women go, if she wasn't such a bitch, I'd be good with her. The kids are great. Like I have no problems with the kids. She's crazy. So, and it's not coming from a jealous point. It's realistic. It's a real analysis. If in a situation like that, if the woman, like let's say the twin sitting back watching the shit show of these marriages, If the woman was good for her twin ray or twin flame, she would walk away and continue her life going, he's in good hands. What can I say? I guess it's not in this life. Swear to God, it would hurt. Don't get me wrong. It will hurt. But she won't go fucking insane jealous. Does that make sense? So those are the other signs. Like when you hear women going, oh, I hate those kids. He's with a karmic and he had kids. Like in that, yeah, that's not a twin. I'll tell you that right. That's not a twin. It's like King Solomon and the two mothers that came saying that the baby was theirs, and the mother who said, cut it in half. And, that's fine. Go ahead and cut it in half. And the woman who really was the mother said, oh, no. I'd rather the baby live. Twins are like that. Twins are selfless to their twin. And they won't. But if they think that the twin is in a toxic environment, it will drive them. It will drive them not crazy in a kind of psychopathic way, but hurt. They will be wounded by the fact that they know their twin is an unsafe environment in an impossible karmic looping situation, and that will harm the twin that's having to witness this from afar or close up. My twin's brother and I are still in contact. I don't even mention my twin when we talk. Is this good? Not really. I mean, because what happens is many of the twins stay connected to family relatives to stay connected to you. Because let's be honest, if you're not in the picture in their life, why in the fuck are they talking to your mother, father, brother, sister? That's their way of staying connected. So for them to get the message that you still love them is saying, hey, how's Jill? To the brother who's connected, Jill's not talking to you, but they're talking for some strange reason. Just think about it for a second, okay? I've had boyfriends, okay? Once the relationship was over, I didn't want to talk to the boyfriend. I didn't want to know their fucking family members. I didn't want anything. We were done, okay? I didn't give a fuck, okay? So when you're in a twin situation and you're still hanging around with the family members, you're there because you want intel. You're hoping that someone will tell you what's going on with your twin, okay? It's not because you get along so well with the family member. I mean, it might be true that you do, but let's be honest, okay? Let's not play games. It's like, please. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? So yeah, when you're talking to your brother, and they say, hey, how's Jill? I haven't asked you in a while, and I'm hoping Jill's doing really well. I miss Jill sometimes. And just leave it at that. And then the brother, when he talks to Jill, will go, yeah, he mentioned you. He asked, he said he still misses you here and there. He still misses you. That's good. Let them be. But don't get the family involved too much. But at least if that's the choice that's been made, then make sure that you don't stay silent. Okay? Because you're not being honest anyway about it, because you haven't stopped thinking about that person anyway. You know what I mean? So that's the best policy in this case, is to be honest. Any other questions? That was a good question. I hope I answered the question actually correctly. What do you think? Any other question? Thank you for the love, guys. Any other questions or comments? Anything at all? Just waiting for... I'm thinking of starting a business with my twin. Any advice? Well, I mean, I can't give you advice because I have no idea what you're good at. I love this picture too. I just created it today with AI. I love their, it's almost like he's about to give her the third eye kiss. The only way I could really give you, and I'm not saying that to just, but I actually do coaching on heart-centered businesses. And so I would have to do a reading. I'm not being funny. I'm just not a yes and no tarot reader online where I don't hear your voice. I don't know your name. I do sessions, proper sessions, and with clients, and I usually do it through WhatsApp if you're in Australia or wherever the hell you are. As New Zealand, I have clients in that part of the world a lot, and I've had people in India and all kinds of crazy places where we have to more or less figure out the timeline. Like your Tuesday, my Wednesday is your Thursday. We have to kind of look at the calendar, but we always get it done. And then I can give you a proper reading. The Outback, I say, oh yeah, you were here last, I remember you. So that's just my advice. Does that make sense? Me too. I was thinking that earlier. What an amazing picture. Yeah, it's quite something, and you'll see more. I'm going to send you, share more pictures. I'm going to do another numerology on somebody requested 8, so I'm going to do a numerology on 8, and then of course I'm going to do 144 on its own. The 144,000. I'm going to do that on its own. I already did 9, which would have been 144, but 144 deserves its own video. I wasn't going to just, squeeze it in with the 9s, the 18, the 9, the 27, the 36. I wasn't going to do that. Okay? I've been seeing 18. That's 16. And 16 is the tower. Can you talk about learning to access the Akashic records? It's an exclusive thing to certain beings. That's a very, I don't think it's exclusive. Okay, let me answer that question somewhat carefully, only because let me give you an analogy. I'm not a gymnast, nor am I a ballerina. But if I had been trained to be, can anybody be a ballerina or a gymnast? Yes. Can anybody? Well, is the potential there? Well, yeah. But for some of us we can't be a ballerina at the age of 65. Suddenly, fucking learning how to be a ballerina. It's too late now. Does that make sense? But that is not true about psychic energy. That is the difference. So I guess what I would say to you is that there is preparation that needs to happen and training, right? Just if you remember Shaolin masters, if you remember Tibet, Tibetan monks and different and nuns in monasteries and the high training that they have to get to chant, to work on their chakras, things of that nature. There's all kinds of training, right? So can anybody do anything? Yes. Does anybody do anything? No, they're not talented for that because they haven't trained for that. None of those muscles have been put together. But can you actually become that no matter what age? Yes, if you start training. And the training that I'm going to tell you, most people don't follow up. I mean, you can tell that to a lot of people. A lot of people know this. But again, I'll tell you, most people don't follow up. I mean, you can tell that to a lot of people. A lot of people know this. But again, I'll repeat. It's working on your chakras every day. 9 chakras, then 15. It's working on your meditation practice. It's working on saging yourself in such a way that sometimes you give yourself a lot of sacred space. You're creating hollowed ground to do deep meditations, to rewire your brain, to open your third eye, things of that nature. Some of us are born with a third eye opening, and it gets closed over time because of cynicism, because of fear, because of being in war. Like that's what happened to my father. He went into a fear over something he saw, and then World War II erupted, and he went into a war and saw shit he shouldn't have seen. Stuff like that. So trauma will shut down the third eye, and it can be reopened, of course. And hang on, what else? And it's just so. And you're not going to like what I'm about to say, because there are a lot of not content creators. Yeah, well, there's a lot of those doing that too. But even on Gaia.com, you'll hear people, and I'm not going to mention her name because I actually adore her, but there will be people saying, oh yeah, you can eat meat. You're not going to like me when I'm going to say, to do this work, to do the work I'm doing, to tap into Akashic, to tap into those places in high dimensions when they don't eat, much less they don't eat meat ever. You can't fucking eat meat. Do you understand? I have chickens. They're to eat ticks. My neighbor has chickens too. I'm just going to be blunt. And he was asking my son, can you go butcher some chickens for me? Because, I'm working late and blah, blah, blah. So he actually spoke to my son today, actually. It was today. He actually spoke to my son saying, I just butchered 10 chickens. I'm sick. I can't. I'm sick in my heart. And my son said, yeah, I know. I wouldn't do that shit unless I had to survive in the woods and there was nothing, no other choice. And he said, what would you do, Mom? I said, I think not even then. I wouldn't. So when you do sacred medicines, what do the shamans say? Don't fucking eat meat for 2 weeks before you come. Don't do sex. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do drugs. Don't eat meat. That's what they say. And so eating meat is going to blind your third eye. It's because you're taking on, it fought for its life. Let's be honest. And so to tap into the Akashic, when you ask, should you be prepared? There are things that you need to be willing to give up. You know what I mean? And it sounds crazy, but there is a price. So does that answer your question? You know, does that make sense? I've been feeling that too. Meat tastes bad to me, and my husband is a chef. Yeah, but I mean, you know, I'm trying to go vegan. There's a restaurant called Garden Cafe in Woodstock, and the chef is called Leah Haas. That's the chef. The food is fucking expensive as hell. She's had people out of New York literally sit in her restaurant going, can I have that with chicken? No, we're a vegan restaurant, and they are vegan. But when people eat her meal, her plant-based meal, they've all said it, because I interviewed her years ago in 2018. They all said, if I could eat like this every day, I'd be plant-based. And it's funny too, because my son was working for a restaurant. He's a chef too, by the way. He was working at a restaurant in Sacramento, and he had figured out how to do, what is it called? This meat. It's this fake meat, Impossible Burger, right? And he was saying, and Mom, I do this and I do that, and it lines out the door, and fucking then they order it again on, Uber Eats or whatever the fuck it was. And he said, it tastes just like beef. And I go, but Bear, I said to him, I said, you don't understand. I don't like the taste of beef. So for me, the Impossible Burger is not a selling point because I don't like the taste of it. So for me to eat something that tastes just like beef is not a selling point. I don't want it to taste like beef. That's the point. You know what I mean? So anyway, better yet, do you incorporate blood types into readings? No, not at all, because that's bullshit. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I think it's bullshit. And again, this doesn't mean I'm correct, okay? It's my personal opinion. Because I am a soul that is stepping into this body for a temporary time. I've been African American. That is stepping into this body for a temporary time. I've been African American. I've been African. I've been Native American. I've been Viking. I've been Irish. I've been Italian. I've been Egyptian. The list goes on. Japanese. I could go on and on. I've been races that no longer exist. That does not determine who I am, because my soul is made of electricity. And the blood type I have today talks about my lineage, not my soul's worth of being advanced or ancient. Does that make sense? So, like, for example, I mean, what's a good example that's not going to trigger you guys? Hang on. I'm trying to think. So, for example, if someone's RH negative, which I've heard about, obviously, or O positive, which runs in my family, O negative and O positive, I'm still not going to buy into a lot of shit, because I know that this is a temporary lineage I volunteered to come into. It doesn't define anything. I'm not better than you. You're not better than me, because in your blood type shows this shit. Some of the crap that no offense, okay? Some of the things I'm seeing, I think there's a lot of beautiful new age science to it, and there could be something that is important, but I've listened to people speak of it. Very, very intelligent people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them down at all. But a lot of them sometimes fail to remember we are souls embodying temporary lineages, temporary bloodlines. I've been Anunnaki. So now what? Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? So do you get where I'm coming from? Oh, you're talking about that. Okay. As long as you eat enough protein intake to keep your hemoglobin levels up. Sweetie, I'm going to tell you something. Protein, I agree with you. Protein can be, there are bodybuilders that are built like brick shit houses. They have thighs that you would dream, you salivate, both women and men. And they are plant-based. They are incredible, and they're strong and powerful. I do think, though, that there are some people who are inherently, and it could be some scars from past lives, to be honest, who are inherently into meat. They need meat, and they need red meat, actually. And I get it. And I'm not going to put those people down at all. I never, in fact, what I say to people like that, because I have clients like that. I have tons of clients that eat meat. I say to them, look, if you're going to eat meat, I need you to go to a farm and see if you can half a cow or quarter of a cow. Get yourself a really good freezer and get that done. If you're going to eat this, then do it right. I took my son to a place that is yokel, and they told him that we buy our meat, our beef from like this local farmer who actually, and they told him how they end the life of the cow, how they do it. They actually told him, and it was very benign, and then how they butcher the meat and so forth. And he said, Mom, I've never had a burger like that in my entire life. It's the best burger I've ever had in my entire life. Because the meat was filled with peace, not cortisol. So, I mean, if you're going to eat this, do it the way the Native Americans did it. You know, if you're going to raise your chickens to butcher, learn not from butchers how to butcher a chicken. My son had to tell the guy, well, one of the things you should have done is cover the eyes of the bird, and then just, the throat, and they would have been relaxed, and they would have, instead of like the trauma. And the guy went, oh, fuck, I was watching butchery things on YouTube. And he said, yeah, they don't give a fuck if it's done humanely, if it's going to conserve the integrity of the meat. They don't give a fuck. They're here doing numbers. So believe me, when I say these things, it's not to put you in a bad place. It's to say that there is a sacrifice to the decalcification, in my humble opinion, of the third eye. Okay? And of being in a frequency match. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Did the Native Americans have this incredible power? Yes, but did you see how they lived? I mean, I don't have to tell you, you know as well as I do, how they lived, how they hunted, how they revered the bison, how they revered the wolf, the bear. You know, if I saw a Native American person wearing a bear robe, I wouldn't freak out and go, you mother effer, you know what I mean? I'd be like, I know they respected that bear. And loved that bear and prayed over that bear. It's a process. I'm still trying to cut meat. I meant to say ethical. The meat tastes different than the slaughter is peaceful. Yeah, cortisol. Yeah, the red meat, I feel weak without some, but I love cows so much, so I don't want to eat them. No, I understand. Sweetie, if I were you, okay, cowboy, if I were you, okay, I would do a lot of beets. I would also go on the internet, on YouTube, and follow vegan bodybuilders, because if anyone needs protein up the ass, it's a bodybuilder. Do you agree with me? They need massive protein to get that kind of muscle buildup. Okay? That's what I would do. I would follow 3 or 4 vegan bodybuilders. Not to be vegan, by the way. Okay? Because for vegan bodybuilders. Not to be vegan, by the way. Okay, because at least you'll have the cheese. What I would also do, what I started doing because I was a vegetarian when I met my twin. He got me on vegetarianism, like literally within hours of meeting. I was immediately a vegetarian. I went cold turkey, boom, for like 7 or 8 years. And then I unfortunately fell off the wagon. And then I started going back, and the last thing I ate was eggs, and at some point it curdled in I couldn't even eat eggs. It made me sick, okay? And my body, this is what they call ascension symptoms for some of us. Not all of us, but many of us will start being unable to digest because our light body is being activated. The DNA strands, the junk DNA is being activated. So if I were you, I would look at these vegan bodybuilders and then maybe start just see what they do to get to this level of shape, and still eat your eggs, right? Keep with your eggs, keep with your cheese, and little by little by little go into veganism. And I remember when I did a vegan, right now I'm a vegetarian, not a vegan, and believe me, I'm walking back into becoming a vegan. One of the things I can tell you about being a vegan is I did not lose hair. I was in the best shape possible. I was eating a lot of beets, raw beets grated over black beans. What happens also when you get weak is you're in bean debt. And I would buy, and I still do, I eat black beans with cumin, salt and cumin and garlic powder, not salt. And it's fucking, and then I put coconut oil in it to make it nice and sticky. Then I put some vinegar. This is all my twin taught me all this, okay? And you keep stirring it until it's no longer liquidy, until it looks like molasses, and then it's ready to serve with guacamole, grated carrots, lettuce, and grated beets, lots of it. Then vegan sour cream. The best one is Forager. It's a cashew, I believe. Forager, it's called. It's the best fake sour cream. You got your salsa. You want to do some chips. You are in hog heaven, my friend. Hog heaven. Okay? And so you need to make sure you're not in bean debt. Hog heaven, my friend. Hog heaven. Okay? And so you need to make sure you're not in bean debt. Okay? And if you are getting sick and weak and dizzy, you're in bean debt. I was in bean debt, and I had to just get a can of beans and just eat. I was like eating it like it was an IV. Okay? Okay, you got it. Thank you, my love. Native Americans have a story of survival for every animal that they slaughtered to survive, for sure. Exactly. I went vegan 11 years ago. Best decision ever. And Andromeda Flame looks amazing. Yes, look up rabbit medicine. Trying to cut meat out. It's a process. But, I mean, don't beat yourself up, cowboy, because you are. But get cumin. Get a big, organic, bulk cumin. Cumin is magic. It's a magic herb. I can't tell you. I'll use one big ass tablespoon in a can. And the beans I get are from Whole Foods. They're $1.29 for an organic can of beans. You can't get the best. It's the best deal on the planet. And so I'll get their spicy beans, organic black beans at Whole Foods. I'll buy like 24 fucking cans. And I'll buy their garbanzo as well. And the garbanzo, you buy this mayonnaise called Vegenaise. It's called Vegenaise. Vegenaise. And it's a fake. It's for your heart. It's called Heart Health. The company's. It's in Hannaford's. It's in Whole Foods. That's where you would buy that particular Vegenaise, but that particular mayonnaise. And what you do is you take your garbanzo and you mash the shit out of it up. You mix it up, you put in red onions, and you got yourself a fake tuna sandwich. It's amazing. And again, you put garlic powder, grated ginger, cayenne, and more mayonnaise on your bread, and you got yourself a tuna sandwich, except it's fake, right? And it's protein. I can eat some meat, but not red meat. Makes me very heavy and I can't digest. I don't think any of us can. Yeah, so you'll get these recipes once I upload this, I hope. Andromeda Flame is a fucking incredible cook in terms of, she's incredible. Today, I'll tell you what I made today. Today, I had cashew butter by Meeks. It's cashew butter. And I did a leek. I did 2 leeks. I did 5 potatoes with one vegetable vegan bouillon cube. I put it in the pot to boil, and then I took one of those mixers and you put it right in the pot. I mixed it up and made it into a potage. I added some coconut oil to make it all nice and sweet and sticky and gorgeous. I put some fennel that I ground. I was happy as fuck. That was the best soup I've had in years. And it was 2 ingredients, right? It was leeks and potatoes, a leek soup, which is classic French, with what I just described. And a little bit of gray salt, right? And I couldn't have been happier. Insanely happy. So I know what you mean about protein, and you've got to understand your protein consumption, So, like I said, and you know what? I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to look at bodybuilders. That's just because I'm trying to get myself in shape. I'm totally out of shape. It's been a long journey for me of being in shape, the best shape ever, to being out of shape again. And I've got to get back in shape again. And one of the things I'm going to do is take my own advice and look up these vegan bodybuilders because I know about them, but I haven't followed them in a while because I'm back on a regime, if you will. Grief is going to, mess you up, and you got to get out of grief and get back on your feet. No, it's all good. Don't beat yourself up. Potato leek's so French. It is, isn't it? And I don't do bread. I don't do bread at all anymore, because I don't trust what they're putting in our breads. So one of the things I do buy from Whole Foods is they have Italian flour, which is organic, and it's from Italy. It's milled in Italy. It's real flour, right? In Amazon, they have French flour. You can look up French flour, and you can look up Italian flour. And the yeast that I buy is from France. Okay, so my son yesterday surprised me with an apple pie that he made from butter and this Italian flour, and it was fucking unbelievable. And the apple pie was made with apricot jam, brown sugar. It's incredible. That's the classic. The way we make apple pie in France is we make apple tarts is you make your own crust, and then you layer it with the apricot jam. Then you layer your apples that you've already soaked in lemon juice, right, with sugar. Then you put it on your apple, your sheet, your crust, and you do a free form. You throw it in the oven. Free form meaning it's on tin foil, whatever, and you throw it in the oven, and it's fucking unreal. It'll make you smile, and at the flavors that come out of that. So, you can be a happy person. I love you. Good night. Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you. It's not easy, grief. I know what you mean. Je t'aime aussi, mon chéri. All right, my love. So, any other questions? So, we went from twin flames, runner chaser, cord cutting, to cuisine. Any other questions? It was fun. I hope this helps. So let me finish the answer to your question. So you asked, can anybody do the Akashic with training, with your energy work that you do every day, with connecting with nature, with surrendering and releasing, with there's certain mudras you can take. I have a video on mudras. All of that is possible after doing the energy work. And be patient. High frequency music will also help, instead of listening to whatever. Mantras, I have a couple videos you can look up of mantras for you to Ahom Prema. There's the Gayatri mantra. I'm going to actually do a video on the Gayatri mantra because it's important. It's the mother, it's the queen of all mantras. It's a powerful mantra. There's another mantra my twin absolutely loved. And I kept wanting to learn it, and I was so busy, and it's a very complicated mantra, but it's beautiful. But the Gayatri mantra is important. Deva Premal has the Gayatri mantra. You look up Gayatri mantra, Deva Premal, 432 hertz, and she has an 8-hour video of it just looping. That's good. That cleans your energy, okay? That's not a bad thing for you to do, okay? All right. Anyway, anything else? Anything else at all? Anything else? Last questions. Any questions? And then we'll call it a night. And then tomorrow, I'm going to be working on videos to upload on my YouTube. Please follow me on my YouTube. Please do not get scammed. If somebody comes up to you on the on TikTok, on Messenger, it says, "Oh, I love your work. Your energy." Don't get it. It's not me. They come up looking like me. They've been using my picture, and it'll say sacred intimacy, but you won't notice that one letter is off or something's off by the letter. Okay, and you'll think it's me.